All right, practice test problem 1. Let's rock and roll. Simplify the expression. Here's my expression. Now, the thing that should be sticking out at you with this one is I have two terms, two things being added together, and they both have a factor of cosine in them. So what I can do with this one is factor the cosine out. I can rewrite it as cosine squared theta. So I'm going to factor the cosine squared out. Okay, times we'd have a tangent squared theta plus 1. Okay, because cosine squared times tangent squared gives me that cosine squared tangent squared. We need the plus 1 for the cosine squared distributed by the 1 to get the cosine squared. Okay, and then in my parentheses I have squared stuff plus 1. Okay, so think Pythagorean identities. This is one of our basic identities, no rearranging necessary. I know that tangent squared plus 1 is just a secant squared. So I can rewrite this as cosine squared theta times secant squared theta. So again, when you see squared stuff plus 1, squared stuff minus 1, look to use Pythagorean identities. And then the last thing with this, we've got it down to a single term. Now I can switch to sines and cosines. Okay, cosine will leave as cosine. So we'll say cosine squared theta times, and then secant is a 1 over cosine. So we'll say 1 over cosine squared theta. Okay, the cosine squared thetas cancel, meaning that this entire expression we start off with simplifies down to a 1. All right, so that's just a fancy way of writing 1.